The Hindu religion is the oldest religion in the world. There are over 650 million Hindus in the world today. There must be 200 monasteries like this one. Each one has its function. Our particular job is to bring Hindu religion into modern English, make it acceptable for the Western educated person to understand and to apply to his daily life. In order to do this, we use the best technology that we can. And the best technology that we found is the Apple computer because it's so easy to use.
In some ways, it may seem an anomaly that the oldest religion in the world is now using the newest technology, things on the frontier of human ability. But to us, it's the most natural thing that could be.
One of the main things we do at this monastery is publish this newspaper, Hinduism Today. People call this the voice of Hinduism. It's well received all around the world, and it's produced entirely on the Macintosh. It serves as a way of bringing the dispersed Hindu community around the world together.
Knowing how the forces of the universe are working at any given moment is the value of astrology. Previously, there was only a handful of people that knew how to do it and had the knowledge in their head or in their library. Now that library is right here in the computer. The masses now can understand astrology. They don't have to go to an astrologer in India to have their chart done. They can just whip it up on the screen and there it is.
Through history, monasteries have always had some kind of agricultural endeavor to maintain their self-sufficiency, and our monastery here in Hawaii has honeybees. We have 3,000 colonies, which we've developed in the course of less than a decade, which is very unusual. It usually takes several generations to do that. And the Macintosh has really been instrumental in enabling us to handle the information, the financing, to make that leap from having no agricultural endowment to having a full-blown agricultural endowment.
We're not becoming better computer experts. We're becoming better beekeepers and better monks.
In our editorial in Hinduism Today a couple of months back, we urged all the Hindus in the world to buy the Macintosh. And we created an acronym, DHARMA, which, if you spell it out, is the word Dharma. Dharma means many things in Hinduism, but it's like the eternal path. It includes good conduct and the cosmic way, if you will. So our acronym is Drive Hinduism Ahead through Requiring Macintosh Acquisition, DHARMA, meaning that if we, as a family of Hindus, can network ourselves a little better through a common medium, the Macintosh, then Dharma itself will be promoted. Goodness in the world will be promoted. We're creating enlightenment tools to enlighten the world. So if you say that you empower the individual, which you do, we say, what greater empowerment than to take that tool and help enlighten the world?
Macintosh la semana pasada. Es el primer ordenador de mi vida.
How many Macs are you making?
In Europe, we've been shipping more than 20,000 products per week.
Who's buying them?
People.
Classic 2!
I got a PowerBook.
Do I need a computer? Seems like too much hard work to me.
As soon as you've got the hold of the mouse and everything and you draw down menus, everything's brilliant. It's so easy.
Can you be more specific?
Students, entrepreneurs, teachers, dentists, lawyers, artists.
Si le das un beso a una niña y se sonríe y te vuelve a dar un beso todavía más fuerte, me doy cuenta que eso está muy bien hecho. Pero si me lo preguntas por mi trabajo, nunca lo sabes. De hecho, tienes la impresión de estar continuamente haciendo graves errores. Yo creo que los ordenadores está muy bien que sean máquinas frías. Y de hecho a mí nunca me ha gustado tocar con el dedo. Me parece que una buena herramienta es el mouse. Macintosh is really good because it's like a pencil, it's very close to you. Utilizar un Macintosh o no utilizarlo es como plantearse hoy en día que en tu casa no pones luz eléctrica y te gusta más ir con vela. Bueno, el proceso de trabajo del Macintosh es mucho más visual y sobre todo más lógico, como más juvenil, más, no sé, más cercano tuyo, te toca más. Está hecho por alguien que realmente sabe lo que es tener alma y cariño, que es importante.
I don't worry. She really doesn't. I don't actually know much about computers. She really doesn't.
But if you did, what would you buy?
Macintosh?
Why?
Because I don't actually want to know very much about computers.
Anything that we ever get involved with, software, systems, whatever it is, it has to be measured by best ease of use. We are interested in taking technology which may be sophisticated, intimidating, unapproachable, and make it appealing to the user. The idea that you could empower individuals with tools that leverage very advanced technologies, but make it accessible to normal people.
I'm going to go into a shop, find out what kind of computer I need, buy it and learn to use it. And use it.
What do people do with them?
They work, organize, create, inspire.
And what else?
Categorize, play, have fun.
And you call that computing?
Yes.
What is it about the word computer that scares people, do you think? People that just know typewriters, say.
The truth is that most of the things that people do on computers today isn't really adding numbers together. They're generally dealing with things at the level of ideas. They're relating ideas in different ways. Even when people use a spreadsheet, the important thing about the spreadsheet is the model. All of the tedious stuff, which they didn't like to do in school, is done for you by the computer. The important thing is this idea that you've created a structure that is a thought amplifier. So it's one of these things that, like a musical instrument, takes something that we're doing inside of ourselves and expands the possibilities.
Bye-bye, Sarah. Here we are. I'm looking for an Apple or a Macintosh. Which is it?
Well, Macintosh is a whole series of computers, all built by Apple Computer.
Right. So there's a lot of them.
Yes.
Can we take it from the beginning?
This is the Macintosh Classic, which is the entry-level Macintosh, which is ideal for domestic use for word processing and personal accounting. Click, drag down.
Up here?
Yeah. Click, hold down, drag down, and paste, release. Here we are.
That's very simple.
In what kind of places do you find the classic?
Homes, schools, factories, smaller businesses like bakeries.
Macintosh, clase 2.
But the Classic 2 is the same as the Classic, but more powerful, faster.
This is the Macintosh LC, which is modular, which means you have a range of screens to choose from.
Oh, I see, yeah.
The LC is our most affordable, most popular color Macintosh.
This is the Macintosh PowerBook 100, the 140, and the 170. And you'll notice they have the unique Apple palm rest.
Oh, I really like the look of these. And they're so light.
What can people do with the PowerBook?
Well, write, sell, learn, teach, play, communicate. Whatever they do, they can now do it wherever they go.
What if you want to do complicated things?
Well, then we have the high-end Macintosh, like the Quadra.
So who uses those?
Designers, publishers, scientists, engineers, professors, and 2,823 people at Cambridge University.
As I understand it, all Macintoshes do exactly the same thing, only I decide how much money I want to spend, how powerful the computer should be, how big the screen, whether I want color or monochrome. What is monochrome?
Oh, black and white.
I want color.
Porque para mí es normal. Los colores forman parte de mi vida. Justo por eso uso Macintosh.
This is my Macintosh LC. A good color machine for someone starting out just like me. Oh, and this is my style writer. I would just like to add that the camera crew didn't help me at all.
Having fun?
I'm having great fun.
Je crois que l'inspiration vient d'abord de la discussion qu'on a aujourd'hui, du son de la pluie qui tape contre la vitre, d'une conversation ou d'un film ou d'un livre que j'ai lu ou vu dans les dernières heures, et tous ces différents éléments donneront naissance demain, dans une semaine ou dans un mois, à une idée musicale. Moi, je suis arrivé à un moment où le Macintosh est arrivé au milieu de ma vie. Alors qu'il y a des gens les enfants dont vous parlez sont des gens qui sont nés avec le Macintosh. Donc, ils ont des réactions instinctives et intuitives que je n'ai pas. Donc, je pense qu'ils auraient peut-être plus de conseils à me donner que moi, j'aurais de conseils à leur donner. Ça devrait être la technologie qui suit la création et pas l'inverse. Et aujourd'hui, il y a eu un effort énorme des créateurs pour s'adapter continuellement vis-à-vis de la technologie. Et j'espère qu'on va arriver à une situation inverse le plus rapidement possible. Mais je suis effectivement toujours émerveillé par le nouvel instrument, c'est aussi le charme de la technologie, aussi de la technique. Voilà.
The user feels like this is the easiest computer they've ever used in their life. That in terms of their own productivity, they feel like they can do more things than they could ever do and they couldn't get along without it. And that's the bottom line. It's not about technology features. It's about, is this a product that I couldn't get along without now that I've learned to use it? Is it one that's the best experience I've ever had if I've used other computers?
My Macintosh is like oxygen. You can't live without it.
Icons, pull-down menus, windows, all sorts of things. Well, I'm in control. I mean, I tell it what to do. It doesn't tell me what to put in.
When I'm using Macintosh at work, I really feel I'm not working. I feel I'm playing.
Isn't it rather complicated?
Sí, sí, claro. Puede que sea complicado. Solo si tú quieres que sea complicado.
Sí, 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 sí. What have you done with poor Carol?
Come over here and have a look at this.
That didn't take long.
And this? It's all laid out so well.
My favourite command? Oh, it's definitely print.
My favourite command?
Bold.
I like cut. Page preview. Probably.
I'd say paste.
T'aimes bien quitter?
My favorite command is undo. Really.
Look, you can go over the top and come around to this side and look at it from the other side.
Good. Now, what about what's going on the inside?
Well, the crater up here was from an eruption a long time ago. You can see the cracks where the lava came down. Here's the top of the volcano. The crater was caused by an eruption a long time ago.
Show us where the magma is.
The part is the magma underneath the Earth's crust. Heat from the magma creates pressure against the surface of the Earth. When volcanoes erupt, the magma comes out through the cracks in the Earth's crust, and the cracks are called fissures. I knew that.
What's it really look like?
This is what a volcanic eruption looks like in real life.
So being able to speak and get natural responses, the metaphor of kind of a human personality in the computer, certainly I think that's one of the big directions that computers will go.
I need to review more recent literature. Pull up all the new articles I haven't read yet.
Journal articles only?
Fine.
Your friend Jill Gilbert has published an article about deforestation in the Amazon and its effects on rainfall in the sub-Sahara. It also covers drought's effect on food production in Africa and increasing imports of food.
Okay. Let's see. There's an article about 5 years ago, Dr. Flemson or something. He really disagreed with the direction of Jill's research.
John Fleming of Uppsala University. He published in the Journal of Earth Science of July 20 of 2006.
Yes, that's it. He was challenging Jill's projection of the amount of carbon dioxide being released to the atmosphere through deforestation. I'd like to recheck his figures.
Here's the rate of deforestation he predicted.
And what happened? He was really off. Give me the university research network.
the computer having very personal characteristics, speaking in a natural human voice, elements moving on the screen as the computer describes what's happening, still giving the advantage of a computer, which is it's interactive. The student can back up, ask a question about something, collaborate with a friend, and it doesn't run by continuously like television does.
I'm not sure to what extent computers are being used now for adult literacy, but I feel persuaded that it's a much more effective tool than the school situation for most adults, because the computer's not threatening. An adult, if you have a good program, an adult can sit down with the computer and make mistakes and not be reprimanded and not feel humiliated. Even though the teachers may not want to humiliate the student, a lot of times someone who's 30 or 40 years old is so ashamed of not being able to read that the interaction with other people may be quite intimidating, whereas the computer is not.
After filling the engine with oil, the coil wire should be grounded and the engine cranked by the starter motor until the oil what's this word?
Pressure.
Oh, pressure. Until the oil pressure gauge reads 10 pounds.
Would you like to go on to lesson 6?
No, I want to read this. The Oakland A's begin an important homestand tonight.
Well, of course, I would expect it to be able to accept speech. Keyboarding is a truly primitive way of getting information into the machine. So to begin with, I would want it to do that. Almost as important to me, and I think vitally important to the world, is I want it to do automatic translation. Even if that translation is not 100% perfect, there's no such thing. I want to be able to read books in Swedish and Japanese and Hungarian and Arabic and Hebrew and Greek and Chinese, and I can't.
Well, I think the supercomputers of today will be the desktop computers of tomorrow. And there are two kinds of things that you can do with more computing power. You can do more of what you want to do now faster, and you can occasionally do some things that you would be unthinkable to do now.
This is some pretty convincing stuff. I'll need all the ammo I can get for my meeting with Professor Thorndike and his committee of invertebrates.
Look, see how the engine creates a lot of turbulence, especially at high speeds?
So?
Well, this causes a lot of noise and also creates a certain amount of drag.
Much like?
Thorndike. The oscillation starts inside the nozzle, and the turbulence really increases outside.
You tried flaring the exhaust nozzle?
Sure, I've tested a lot of possible angles. I noticed that the oscillation is a lot lower when you have something like this, about 14 degrees.
We should test this. Can you talk to Gavin about a prototype of the nozzle?
Sure.
And can you add these changes to the specs?
Sure.
Can you meet with Thorndike?
Get out.
The implication of this much computing power at a very affordable cost is partly one of those because of the fact it's so radically different than anything we could have ever expected, where the very hugest supercomputers of my lifetime, early in my lifetime, are now equaled by inexpensive personal computers that you can buy everywhere and everyone can own. It's like you can't even say where is this going to go.
So the ideas about hypermedia and what their possibilities can be have been around for a long time. And they have always been to be able to cut your own trails through information of your own, other people's information, weave in your stuff with other people. The trails now constitute a new kind of a book.
Select the nozzle. Modify. Let's see noise test 3 again. Okay, change the nozzle dimensions to the ones in noise test 3. Great. Let's see performance requirements. regulations, noise. Link the noise regulations to the nozzle dimensions. Nozzle dimensions.
I don't know what the next extension of that is, except an enrichment of it through going through, looking at a book of mine, not simply as a page of text, but also having behind that page of text is access to additional information that enriches the text.
Supplement it with documents, original source material, writings of the period, and begin to get what every historian would love to achieve, which is a real sense of the time.
So if we had a machine that we could play games with and take each subject to its farthest point, you could say to the machine, how come I love dinosaurs so much? Show me all the covers of the science fiction magazines my father and my grandfather grew up with that caused us to become scientists or technologists, to fall in love with the future. The things that make us want to live forever. That sort of machine, I think, would be absolutely incredible for a child to play with. We're all doing the same thing, same work, but we're doing it in different ways. And saying, my God, isn't this exciting? What we have here to prove that mankind has moved from here to here and can move even further to here. When I was a child of 9, I collected Buck Rogers comic strips because they were the future. And oh, I could hardly wait every night for the newspaper to arrive. And I'd rush out and smell the newspaper. And it smelled good. You know why? Because the future was in there. But the people in the 4th grade at school made fun of me, and I tore up these strips that I'd been collecting. And a month or so later, I burst into tears and said, why am I crying? Well, I was crying because I'd torn up the future.
I was the co-author of a study that came out last fall that got a lot of attention with the title, What Do Our 17-Year-Olds Know? And one of the things that seemed to come out of it was that the things that they know, they're not learning in school. They're learning mainly through television and the popular culture.
There would have been time for such a word tomorrow and tomorrow and... could you read the speech to me, please?
Who would you like to read it?
The Williamson reading.
The Queen, my lord, is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word tomorrow. Tomorrow.
I do it more like a newspaper story. Is that okay?
That's fine, Holly. But try to stick to one particular event in the story, like Lady Macbeth's suicide or Duncan's murder.
This is so stupid.
The biggest problem teachers have is motivating students to want to learn. The teacher has that tool to bring the kids to a kind of a fever pitch of wanting to complete a task, wanting to see something accomplished successfully. Then I think that this will become a tremendous resource for the teacher. It won't supplant the teacher.
Well, what did you like about it?
I don't know. I guess I like the last scene with Macbeth and what's-his-name fighting and Macbeth gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell what it looked like, you know?
Why don't you show me what you think it looked like? Stage it for us.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been time for such a word. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow.
I need to do a library search.
What is the subject?
I need an illustration of a medieval weapon used in Scotland. Let me see a close-up of this sword. That's outrageous. It's front page material. This is gonna look great. Witnesses said the sword fight lasted just a few moments, with Macduff easily beating the battle-weary Macbeth.
No way. He didn't beat him easily. Holly!
All of a sudden, what's important is to let all the students go at different paces and let them even choose their own grades, and, you know, that's what will work out better to motivate them.
I'm ready to record. She should have died hereafter.
He put up a good fight.
Who?
Macbeth. Look, replay the scene, please. And this is the way I'm staging it.
What makes you an authority?
As I check my facts. I've seen lots of performances, and it was a good fight in every one of them.
Why are they fighting with rapiers? They should have broadswords.
Should have what?
No. This is an engraving from medieval Scotland, in Macbeth's time. You see, this is a broadsword.
So how come they've used rapiers in every Shakespeare play I've seen?
But not in Macbeth. It's set in the Middle Ages. You must check your facts, good fellow.
The student can back up, ask a question about something, collaborate with a friend, and it doesn't run by continuously like television does. The resolution on the screen and what's presented should get more and more like live television with its fine graphics and actors for presentation reasons.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been time for such a word. Tomorrow. And tomorrow. And tomorrow.
The history of Renaissance art, the history of music, the history of other kinds of painting, stage, cinema. They're all ways of looking at the same thing. We're all doing the same thing, same work, but we're doing it in different ways. And saying, my God, isn't this exciting? What we have here to prove that mankind has moved from here to here and can move even further to here.
Dear Mr. Scully, my name is Rudd Lippincott and I am 7 years old. I am in the 2nd grade and I am learning how to program in Logo 2. I like to see the pictures when they are finished. This is really neat. I am sending you a picture of the spider that I made with my first program. Your friend in Logo, Rudd Lippincott.
Dear Mr. Scully, my name is Randy Reddick, and I am 12 years old. I have programmed and played video games, designed graphics, written songs, whatever, all on my Apple IIc. I yearn for something more, but my dad won't let me get a Macintosh. So what I ask of you is simple. Please write a letter to my dad, persuading him to get me a Macintosh. Here's a list of what I would like. A Macintosh 2CX with a laser writer, Apple scanner, 40 megabyte hard disk, Apple CD disk drive, a 68030 33 megahertz accelerator, Apple extended keyboard, an optical mouse, 16.7 million color graphics board, extended ADB cables, AUX, HyperCard, a 2-page full-color Radius monitor, AutoCAD, and a MIDI interface. How much will all this cost? Thanks. Make sure to make it a professional-type letter, okay? Sincerely, Randy Reddick.
Dear Mr. Scully, at school we have an Apple IIe, and at home I have a Macintosh. I think your computers are great. In the future, maybe you can invent a computer that can communicate with animals, especially dolphins. I think dolphins are very smart, maybe even smarter than us in their own way. Sincerely, Caroline Kattingham.
Dear Mr. Scully, my dad says that computers are only tools, and real creativity comes only from your mind. He's right, I guess, but what a great tool the computer is. Computers are the tool of the future, and as my computer teacher likes to say, there are no limits. Sincerely, Gina Russo.
Dear Mr. Scully, Mac rules the world. Your Mac friend, Brent Rambo.